Welcome back. Good morning for me, good morning for you if it's morning. I let it render in during the night and it took around 8 hours, I guess, for the whole 240 frame sequence. I'm going through my render settings so you can see what I got. And here is the shot, the final shot from the camera one. This is straight out of the render, no compositing yet. So we have this nice reveal, nice reflection, nice tones. We still not hiding the island, we still portraying it like truly with the details of the rock, the beach, the trees, the vegetation. I think it's a really cool shot. I like the way that the camera like shifts the horizon a bit, like dancing to one side and to the other, like look like this kind of helicopter shot that we see a lot in Hollywood movies, and I think that's pretty nice. I think with the tools that we covered, you understand the potential of what we can accomplish. Of course, this is it's not like a feature film shot. We will need to put a lot of more effort, a lot of more details, a lot of more time into this shot to bring it to one step ahead and to be able to use this in a real movie. But for the time being, I developed this shot during this tutorial from scratch. We basically only use Houdini, and of course the trees I brought from I created them in Speed Tree, and the boat I model actually in Houdini. And we use some assets from Quixel Megascans that are really good. So let's go for let me show you my render settings, and then let's set up the second shot that's from the height, like and with a different zoom lens, so we can show different things in our environment. So that's great. We have a mix in this one, in this final shot. I decided to go with this light, but let me show you what else that I have, because I still have the clouds, the real clouds, that they merge really well with the background. The thing is that with this camera we can't see too much the parallax, but if you only have the clouds in the HDRI, you might miss some parallax when the camera is moving, and the foreground and the clouds should move different than the background, because if you have a very wide lens, then you can see that much. But if you do so, if you have like a more tight shot with a different movement of the camera going more sideways, you would notice that these clouds here, that's the real VDB clouds, are moving in a different speed than the background clouds. And that's a cool trick to be a bit more realistic, and we could improve this a lot in the compositing stage. So let me close this down and let me show you. So basically we have this cloud layer that's just some VDB files. Yeah, you see, just simple VDB files. I got this VDB from Saul Espinosa. Let me show you. It's Saul. He has this in his Patreon. So that's how I got them. Good tools. I like to buy tools from other artists that save me time, and they're really good. You see, like so fast to set up. Otherwise, you can always build your own. It's just taking some time. So let me go. And then we have our fog environment. Mine I took away from the main island and move it further back, reducing its size to something like 500, 400, and that's pretty much it. I have two different let me go here in the material. I have two different elements, materials, one for the fog and one for the cloud, so I can work with different settings. So in the fog we have 0.1, 0.03, and this kind of sandy tone, warm color. and in the clouds actually is the same. No, it's 0 1. Let me see. Yeah, it's 10% thinner. You see, like this is 0.1 and 0.03, and in my cloud layer is 0.01 and 0.03. So we have 1/10 of the density than in this one, because these are more dense. So it worked well for me. And then in my render, here in the lighting set, I just did something also. What I did, I brought the HDRI, one of them, and then I mixed with this sun. So I put the sun in the same direction as the HDRI, so I could lit a bit more my trees and the scene in general. So in my sun, I have I have more softness to the shadows. The default is 1, so I increase, so it didn't, because I like the softness that the HDRI were giving me. So just this. Volume scale still contributing to the light of the fog and to the clouds, so I brought it up, and that's it. And in the HDRI, I played with the intensity multiplier to give a bit more light, but kept the exposure as 0. The main difference between these two is this is mainly how it's going to contribute to light the scene, and this one is a lot to do with the how bright is the HDR itself. And the diffuse scale from the HDR, I double it to 2, so not the reflections, just the diffuse. It's 2, so it's lit in a bit more. I want to show more the island. So that was it. Everything else we covered in the other classes. Here I have my render settings. So we rendered 240 frames in 24 frames per second. I'm using HDRI. There's no AOVs for this one. And the redshift settings, I have the minimum samples to 32, the max to 256. You need to see your own shot. If you have a darker scene, you might want to improve this. If you have a slower machine, you might want to reduce this and use maybe the post effects, the denoise. I didn't use any denoise, because what I'm experiencing with this, I have it crashing very often when I'm using the denoising, so it didn't crash at all, this render, so I like this. I increased the brute force G-rays, brute force, and I increased the GI rays to 64. I think the default is 8 or 16, maybe 16. Yeah, 16 is the default. If you press Ctrl and middle click, it goes to the default. Okay, just a small trick to see. So I increased it to 64. So that was it. The next one, let's play with the second shot and let's render it. Thanks, we're almost there. Really happy with the result so far, and see you in a bit.